Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 1st, 2022 regular meeting of the Enlarged City School District of Middletown. I'd like to call the meeting to order at this time and ask you to stand for the Pledge of the Allegiance, and afterwards, please remain standing for a moment of silence. Mr. Crescenzo, would you do the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. I don't think your mic is on, Mr. Perino.
Thank you. First moment of silence this evening is for Joan E. Bob. Mrs. Bob, the mother of Michelle Lentz, and Michelle is a TA in special education. Mrs. Bob's grandson, Nick Lentz, also works for the district in the Buildings and Grounds Department. And there is also a Rich Lentz in the on our custodial staff. Ms. Bob was a school bus driver for the Menacing School District for 31 years. And actually, she was the first woman to drive a full-size school bus for Menacing. She and her husband also ran a very successful dairy farm for 30 years. In addition to that, Ms. Bob wrote a newspaper column for the New Jersey Herald for a number of years. And I'm going to just read this short sentence. In retirement, Joan enjoyed casino trips, chatting with friends and strangers, weekly meetings at the Greenville Senior Center, and spending time with her family. Impressed me as a very, very hard-working individual, because when you run a farm, you have to be hard-working. A person who worked on a farm early in my life, it's not easy work. The second moment of silence this evening is for Ismael Martin Velez. And Martin Velez, the son of a special education teacher, recently retired, Miriam Velez, and I'm going to just read this short sentence. I did not know Martin. He was a carefree spirit who lived one day at a time, marched his own beat, and was difficult to forget. He was a nonconformist who made everyone's life laugh with his wit and humor. Martin was charming, charismatic, adventurous, with a heart of gold, infectious personality, and he had a contagious smile. Appeared to be a very nice young man, and unfortunately passed away at an early age, 40 years of age. So please remember these individuals in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Perino. Mrs. Blumenauer, would you do the pledge? Would you do the mission statement?
My pleasure, thank you. We strive to provide fiscally sound educational opportunities in a safe environment that continuously supports our diverse student population. We will enable all students to graduate, to reach their full potential, to become lifelong learners, and to be competitive, productive members of society.
Thank you very much. Ms. Crystal, may I have a motion to approve the agenda? No, I need the agenda first and then the roll call. Thank you.
Mrs. Blumenauer? Mr. Crescenzo?
Here.
Mr. Gomez? Ms. Houston? Mr. Perino? Mrs. Tobiasen?
Here.
Mr. Freddie Williams? Pastor Williams? Mr. Mitchell Williams?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I now need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Crescenzo, seconded by Mrs. Blumenauer. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I now need a motion to approve the regular minutes of the August 25th, 2022 meeting.
So move.
Second on that?
Moved by Mrs. Blumenauer, seconded by Mr. Perino. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. I now need a motion to approve the Personnel Memorandum 5A.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Cosenza, seconded by Mrs. Blumenauer. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I need approval of Personnel Memorandum 5B, instructional.
So moved.
Second on that?
Moved by Mr. Mitch Williams, seconded by Mr. John Perino. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I now need a motion for non-instructional 5C as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Crescenzo, seconded by Mrs. Blumenauer. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving right along. Recognitions, announcements, or community reports. Mrs. Creedon, I don't think we have any announcements, do we? I'm going to move on for community reports. Does any board member have any community reports? Mr. Perino.
Thank you, President Tobias, and just like to remind everyone, and maybe you could do that, Rose, that it may seem like we're going through these rather quickly. However, we have the backup material well before the meeting, so we can ask questions on anything that we desire, the personnel or the instructional, non-instructional, and the administrative. I wanted to speak about this evening for especially the individuals who might be new to the district, our bus system, Mid-City Transit, and very important provider of bus service to this district. During the upcoming school year, 22-23 school year, they'll be transporting approximately 6,725 students to approximately 40 different schools as far away as Yonkers and Red Hook. Dan Higby is the CEO of the company, and Dan does a good deal of pro bono work for the district. Example, the Spectators bus that went to the Port game, these were provided free of charge by Dan. He also purchased a large quantity of bells and pom-poms, and he plans to do that this year, though we are in Middletown. Senior citizens need a bus to go to a play or a performance. Dan is right there with the bus, no charge. The staff, the entire staff, the drivers, the monitors, they're committed to providing the best possible service and safety for our students. And this is very, very challenging. The first week of busing is extremely challenging. Students may be a bit late. Buses might not arrive on time. They may have to wait for a student at their homes. Drivers need a little bit more time. The Mid-City personnel, along with our transportation coordinator, Mrs. Ferrara, has been very hard working, doing a good job working on the schedules this current summer. This year it's going to be particularly difficult the first couple of days because the Middletown High School, good idea is having an intensive orientation. 2 grade levels will come in one day and 2 grade levels the next day, which will necessitate 4 trips. So what I guess I'm saying, let's try all to be a bit patient. Things always settle down. I mean, I've heard these I've heard the concerns for, well, when I was on staff, it was almost 40 years, and being on the board for a good number of years. So the bus routes will calm down, everything will turn out all right if we're a little patient. If you have any questions, any concerns, you may call the bus garage, the Mid-City Transit, 343-4702, 845-343-4012. And please, parents, speak to your children about proper deportment on the buses, to respect the drivers and respect the various monitors. Also, finally, we're all drivers, and most of us are drivers. We have a responsibility to stop for the school bus with flashing lights and to be cognizant of all students who are walkers, especially the first few weeks. I'm done, and I'm done now. I'm not going to go on. My minutes are up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perino. Does anyone else have any?
Yeah, I have some.
Thank you, Mitch. Would you share?
Vesh, do you have my, I want to acknowledge Dennis and Carbon Mayer from Youth Employment Foundation. They were sponsored by the Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union with Denise Romero. What they did was a financial literacy class for some of our youth over the summertime, and I think it was great for them to collaborate, which it was done at Motor Suite. And it was excellent, because if our kids need to be financially literate, and that's just what that is. That's a need, and they decided to step up and fill that need, you know, so it's just excellent. The next thing I would like to discuss is I have a purple ribbon here, as yesterday was Overdose Awareness Day. Now, the reality is, it seems that we're coming out of this pandemic, which is great. But I want everyone to still be aware that we have an epidemic going on here, and it's heavy in Orange County. Once again, I'm a substance use counselor, which I've been for the last 20 years. So I see exactly what's going on, and we're not out of the woods in that at all. So please, let's pay attention. Let's continue to keep these kids engaged. This is one of the reasons why myself, Fox, and members of this board, as well as Amy, we try to keep these kids active and involved in something, because we need to be proactive. We need to get ahead of it. I said this before, what we're doing here is prevention. What I do in my job is intervention, which is a lot harder. Intervention means they already went to the left, and I'm trying to get them to go to the right. Prevention is trying to get them involved so they don't go to the left. So we gotta make sure we stay on top of that and encourage these kids and get involved. Step up to the plate. If you have something that you know that you can do that'll be beneficial for these kids, step up and do it, because it's needed. That's all I got.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Cosenza.
Okay. You don't have to look very far to find something to be very proud of in this district. I'm on the Board of Directors of the RECAP, the Regional Economic Community Action Plan. And this week, I'm in New York City at a convention. The organization is called Community Action Plan, Community Action Program. It's nationwide, so there isn't just a RECAP in Orange County or New York State. They go by different names. And extremely important organization, because they take care of the most needy members of our population. So one of the discussions was food, hunger, especially among our children. And they were, talking about different programs around. So I had the opportunity to talk about what we did during the pandemic, that all of our children, most of our children were fed every day, and food for the weekends, food for the holidays, how the students come to school and they have breakfast, lunch, and if they stay later, they get a light dinner or whatever. So we, as a district, address this incredibly critical problem directly. And these people, Washington State, California, Florida, Maine, they came from all over, Puerto Rico, came from all over the country to be part of this. But I was in a small group when we were talking about this, and they were very interested and very impressed and very amazed. So it gives me a lot of pride to have represented our district at this meeting. And I think I planted some seeds, and maybe this will go even further in other districts and other municipalities around the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crescenzo. Anyone else that wants to share?
Yes, I think Vesh has an image
Sure.
too for me.
Mr. Freddie Williams.
Does Vesh have the image? I think I have two images that were supposed to go up. Nothing yet. There's nothing on the other monitor either, right? All right. So we have Middletown Youth Sports is helping promote the Bear Cave Wrestling, which is headed up by Coach Naboa and Jason Lichtenstein.
It's up, Freddie.
Okay, it's up now. Yep, there you go. For all students, grades 2 through 6. It starts in November, runs all the way to March. It's Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday evenings are the trainings, 6 to 7:30. You can also reach them at bearcavewrestling@yahoo.com. Great program. I got to sit with Coach Lichtenstein and for about an hour, and we went through some things and a lot of common goals between him and what we're doing with Middletown Youth Sports, me and myself, Mr. Mitchell Williams. So it was great. I think it's going to be a great event. And it's been going on for 10 years now, I believe. And I think it's very good for the kids and just to give the kids more options with the whole sports. And he also, you can contact Coach Jason Naboa at 845-742-3307. Great program. All right, Vesh, you can go to the next one. And this is the event that we have coming up September 10th at Davidge Park, Pavilion 1 and 2. Headed up by the City of Middletown, Middletown Police Department, the enlarged District of Middletown, and Middletown Youth Sports, and we also have Mid-City Transit are the big organizations with the push behind the event. It's going to be great. It's basically a back-to-school barbecue, and we are having a DJ, a band, a live band, a bunch of family activities, and a book bag and supply giveaway, which is the main focus of the event. We did it last year. It was really good. I think we had close to 500 people last year. And this year we have so many different organizations helping out and donating and sponsoring and volunteering time. So it's going to be a great, great event. Also, another sponsor, before I forget, is Middletown Athletics. They're helping out a lot too. So it should be a very good day. Myself and Mitchell Williams were up with Chief Awanchu earlier, landscaping the pavilions and coming up with a bunch of new ideas on top of a lot of other stuff we got going on. So it should be very fun and great for the kids. And once again, our goal is 1,000 book bags this year. Last year we hit about close to 400. So we're trying to push the envelope this year. And yeah, if you can, bring your families out. Even if you don't need anything, you can come out and help and just enjoy the festivities. All right, that's what I got. Thank you.
Is it true, Mr. Williams, that John Perino is going to do the rock climbing wall?
After the bouncy house.
Okay, thank you.
Hold on for a second. Just one more thing. I definitely want to acknowledge Coach Kelly, as far as Dave Coates, and that basketball league, and even Kevin Gleason. That basketball league was phenomenal.
Talking about the summer basketball?
Summer basketball league. I mean, Middletown didn't win. I'm going to take a moment on that one. But they fought hard. They did great. They represented. And the Middletown community, as well as the kids, represented Middletown. And it was excellent. It was great to see that. Now I'm done for real.
I want to
Okay.
ride his coattail on that one. It was in, so Mitch knows, and we both coach, we know years ago they did the OC League, which was like amazing for the area. So when we all sat, Dave, myself, Kevin, Jim, Raylan, and I think John, and just getting those minds together, things just started sparking. And when Jim said it, we just looked at each other and were like, well, that's a great idea. And to see it actually come to fruition was like, it was great. Every team playing hard, a bunch of, I don't know how many different teams there were, and there were, was it, yeah, a good amount of teams. 8? Okay. Oh, yeah, that's good. So we just see it growing from here, right? Like that's, and the big push I'm hearing, and I talked to Coach Kelly about it, was a lot of people are mentioning the girls now. So that's like, we can't leave them out. So, but yeah, I just want to offer this coattail. They did a great job. So, I mean, in moving from a rain delay from one location to the next, and it's still like all came together great. So yeah, definitely commend them on that.
Thank you. Moving on. Opportunity to address. Just a reminder that if you'd like to address the board, you need to sign in at the podium. And in order to honor everyone's time, we are asking that you keep your comments to 4 minutes or less. Please know that the board does not engage in a dialogue at this point. We are here to listen to what you have to say. If administration is able, they will answer a question. Otherwise, we will get back to you at our next meeting. Is there anyone that would like to address the board?
Does that work?
Yes?
Okay. Yeah. I think it's tested and is working. Maybe it needs to be back there. Okay. Standing here today, I wonder what the people watching and listening will say. Maria is scary or calming, frightening or daring. She is angry or hurtful, courageous or truthful. Yes, all of these descriptions are correct. For me and for all, we may act in helpful, harmful, ways which may or may not be helpful. So how do we move on from here? We have been divided, this much is clear. I am sorry for the hurt I caused and grateful for the truth speaking which paused. The same old, to continue harming while no one told the truth of how much they hurt. Now that we are more open to work on creating cultures based on collaborations, not vultures who suck creativity away, instead let's celebrate ingenuity and say, you matter, we matter. Together we share our hearts and pray to be our best every day. I feel sad about inspiring educators who are no longer in this district, but who were hurt by a bully culture so strongly over many years that even when changes were made, it seemed like nothing could ever be enough to heal many layers of trauma going back generations upon generations. I wish them the best on their next adventures and recognize how lucky the people will be who are privileged enough to be inspired by them at their next jobs. When Amy Creedon and Camille Adamo were introduced as superintendent and assistant as superintendent, I was not happy with the process of how they were selected. When Amy asked for a bit of grace, even though I was still angry, part of me listened and softened a bit. After much time off to reflect, observe, and heal, I recognize Superintendent Amy Creedon has treated me with respect, no matter how upset I've been. Thank you. I appreciate all of these new programs you have started and supported, doing your best to attend despite a busy schedule with work and family. While I don't agree with the way superintendent was placed into office without even a district, local, or nationwide search, this is now behind us. The model which the district used to hire Principal Lynette Williams is exemplary, most especially because students, educators, and community members were involved in the interview and decision process. I hope this model will be used in the future so that the decisions are made with transparency. Thank you to board members who have done your best during some really trying times over these last few years. It hasn't been easy for all of us. I appreciate the many hours you devote to the students and educators in this district. I hope this is a productive school year filled with challenges tackled head-on with integrity and many successes celebrated in joyful community. Thank you. Well, I'm under time.
Thank you very much for your very kind comments. We appreciate them. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? My star.
Hello, my name is Andrew Stevens. I'm a two-time cancer fighter and warrior and survivor. I've been fighting cancer for 5 years now, and it's been a rough battle, and I want to be able to turn the September 14th into a day where everyone turns the district gold for the children who are fighting right now, and the children who have survived, and the children who has flown away from the disease. Because this disease is a really dangerous disease, and every time I walk around the hallways, I see all these children, and I don't know what they have been through, and who's a cancer fighter, and who has ever dealt with something like cancer or anything like that. And I feel like it's really important because we don't get that much awareness as a lot of other cancers or awarenesses. And I really hope that we could do that to help show that Middletown is part in supporting the children who are fighting right now and the children who are falling through this. And also, September 14th, we have partnered, me and my mother have done something with Rita's on the 14th on Dolson, where we're going to be fundraising the money that they get from there to a fundraiser called the RGR Foundation, who has helped me throughout my treatments and still helps us from today. And how we're going to donate the money to them so they could help other families who actually need the money a lot when they're doing this. Because with the treatments are really expensive. And also a lot of times the treatments aren't even kids friendly, and it's a lot more like adult treatments that these kids are receiving. And a lot of times that these parents, that the insurance companies don't want to pay for, and then they're stuck in with debt because they had to pay out of pocket for the medicines, or even the medicines that help make their kids feel comfortable from when they're going through it, like their stomach pain medicines and their pain medicines and everything. And when I went through it, it was like in the beginning, it was really hard. I don't even remember most of it because I was mostly passed out from the treatments. And I relapsed again after the first time, and luckily I was able to get through it. And it's just sad because you see, when you're in the hospital, you don't think, but when I was in there, most of the rooms were filled up with kids who are fighting cancer right now in Westchester Medical Center, Maria Ferrari. And a lot of times when we were in there too, we watched a lot of them make it, the ones that we were really close with. And I really hope that the school district will go gold this year on September 14th to show our support for the children who needs the help a lot. Thank you.
May I ask you to wait just a moment?
Yeah, absolutely.
Andrew, usually we do not interact with the audience. For those of you that are here, Andrew was diagnosed when he was in 5th grade. He is going to be a senior this year, and it is going to be one of my proudest, moments to hand you your diploma. So I am hopeful and encouraging that on September 14th, we will all wear gold to honor childhood cancer in this district.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to continue on. Normally, Andrew's mom, Liz, is here with him, but she couldn't be here this evening. So I am going to be partnering with Andrew and through the community, working together with the Rita's event. We have had gold ribbon stickers donated by Healy Brothers, 2,500 for the district. So hopefully we can turn September 14th gold and do some other great things together. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Okay, hearing none, we will move on. Were there any letters? The letters, it was our desire that letters now be sent to the district clerk, and they will be posted with board docs. They will not be read at the meeting. I will not be using that reminder again. I will hope that everyone is now in tune to our new procedures. Moving on, we have action items. I'm bringing this up because it's the approval to authorize the execution and delivery of a joint intermunicipal agreement with Orange Ulster BOCES.
So moved.
I believe it was moved by Mr. Cosenzo and seconded by Mr. Perino. I need to read the motion. Is that correct, Mrs.? This motion is to authorize the execution and the delivery of joint intermunicipal agreement for the Orange Ulster BOCES capital project as presented. Upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, a motion to adopt the following resolution. This resolution is dated September 1st, 2022, of the Board of Education of the Enlarged City School District of Middletown, New York. It is authorizing the execution and delivery of an intermunicipal joint agreement with the Board of Cooperative Education Services of the Sole Supervisory District of Orange and Ulster County and its component districts with respect to a proposed capital project and determining other matters in connection therewith. Whereas the Board of Cooperative Education Services of the Sole Supervisory District of Orange and Ulster County, New York, BOCES, is proposing to undertake a project consisting of the following construction, reconstruction, and renovation of, in addition to, certain buildings, facilities, and sites owned or to be owned by BOCES and the Arden Hill campus and the Gibson Road campus, including site improvement and original furnishing, equipment, machinery, apparatus, and incidental improvements and expenses in connection therewith, collectively the project at a maximum estimated cost of $159,800,483. And whereas said project has been determined to be a Type 1 action pursuant to the regulations of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, the implementation of which is proposed, the BOCES has determined will not result in any significant adverse environmental impact, and whereas BOCES has requested that each of the 17 component districts, the component school districts including the Enlarged City School District of Middletown, New York, the district, enters into an intermunicipal joint agreement, the joint agreement with respect to the projects. And whereas the joint agreement sets forth the maximum estimated cost of the project, it provides for an allocation and apportionment of said cost among the component school districts pursuant to the resident weighted average daily attendance, RWADA. That's the value assigned to each component school district. And whereas the District Board of Education desires to authorize the execution and delivery of the joint agreement by the district. Now therefore, be it resolved by this Board of Education as follows. Section 1, the form and substance of the joint agreement in substantiating the form presented to this meeting and attached hereto as Exhibit A are hereby approved, and the execution and delivery of the joint agreement by the district and hereby authorized. The President of the Board of Education is hereby authorized on behalf of the district to execute and deliver the joint agreement. The joint agreement shall be in substantially the form thereof presented to this meeting, with such changes, variations, omissions, and assertions as the President of the Board shall approve the execution thereof by the President to constitute conclusive as evidence of such approval. Section 2, the resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. Upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, a motion to adopt the following resolution. This resolution dated September 1, 2022, of the Board of Education of the Enlarged School District of Middletown, New York, authorizing the execution and delivery of an intermunicipal joint agreement with the Board of Cooperative Education Services of the Sole Supervisory District of Orange and Ulster
You can
County.
stop. You can stop.
Oh, thank you. I'm looking at it, and it's pages. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, thank you. So we need a motion to approve item A, the approval of the exec.
We made a motion.
You made the motion. We had a discussion we did not have. Anyone that wishes to discuss on the board?
This isn't a frivolous endeavor. This is a necessity. The BOCES has been around, I think, since 1970, maybe. And the vocational center was built in 72, and the special education center was built shortly after that. And an addition was put on in 1988, and that's the last time anything's really been done there. So in order to, and I have to say, this is very important, that our children, our scholars are safe. They go there, they're getting a good education, they're safe, there's no safety violations, what have you. But it desperately needs to be updated to modern standards. And this is very important. We send a number of, 700 of our students to BOCES between special education and CTEC. The other districts in the county do the same. And to get a quality education, the best education available, these buildings and other aspects of this have to be repaired. So this is very, very critical, very, very important, and we really must pass this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crescenza. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on, and I promise you this one is shorter. The approval to enter into an intermunicipal joint agreement with Orange Ulster BOCES for capital project. I need a motion to enter into the intermunicipal joint agreement with Orange Ulster BOCES for the capital project.
So second on that?
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Moving on, I need an approval of financial memorandum number 5.
Second.
Any discussion? It was moved by Mrs. Blumenauer and seconded by Mitch Williams. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I need an approval of the Special Services Memorandum Number 4.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Perino, seconded by Mr. Freddie Williams. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I now need an approval of the district-wide safety plan for the 2022-2023 school year.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Perino. I need a second.
Second.
Any discussion on the plan? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. now need an approval, this is letter F, of the Dignity Act Coordinator for 2022-2023 school year.
So move.
Moved by Mrs. Blumenauer, seconded by Mr. Perino. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes unanimously. Item G, I now need a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement for the Middletown School Administrators Association as presented.
So move. Second on that?
Moved by Mr. Mitch Williams, seconded by Mr. John Perino. Any discussion?
Rose?
Yes, sir.
Quick discussion I have. We have a very dedicated group of administrators in this district, some of whom are here tonight. They spend many hours, they spend long hours at their job. It's not easy, but they do it. They continuously do it, and they continuously improve their buildings and introduce new programs. So congratulations, and it's about time that we settle and so on. And thank you to the officers of the association. Mr. David Coates is the president, I believe, and who is the vice president, Dave?
We don't have one.
Okay. I thought Kelly sat next to you.
It's a two-person show right now.
Good, okay.
All in
good.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on, letter H, the action on the student's disciplinary appeal. I need a motion.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Perino, seconded by Mr. Mitch Williams. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Superintendent's updates.
Thank you, and on behalf of the MAA Cabinet, our negotiating committee, and all of our members of the MAA, we are extremely appreciative of the Board of Education on your unwavering support for all of us through the many years that I've been here. Knowing many of you at the table, it's just been a wonderful experience from the administrative perspective. And just knowing that you're there behind us 100% gives us so much encouragement and will to do the jobs that we have to do every single day. And also on behalf of the MAA, with Mrs. Creed and Mr. Tuttle, we are so appreciative of and grateful for the collaborative and professional meetings that we had over the course of of the agreement. We're so appreciative of the agreement, and we're really looking forward to getting to work and getting back to work this school year, and looking forward to creating really special buildings and programs as we move forward. So we thank you, and we're really grateful. Thank you.
So I just want to congratulate the administrators at finally bringing that long project to a conclusion, and we feel really proud. The agreement both benefits the district and the administrators, so it's definitely a good thing. Just a few things that I wanted to provide the board and community with some updates on this tonight, and I have some slides. Great. Just a reminder that you can find this image on our website as well as on our Middletown Facebook page. Tuesday, September 6th is our first day of school. And you just got to read it carefully because we are doing a really unique thing this year. We're bringing back all of our scholars K-5 on a traditional schedule. 6-8 on a traditional schedule. But when we get to the high school, we want to recognize that we were responsive to our community's feedback last year in terms of the transition gap, and it's a really big step to come to the high school. So the high school team, some of which who are here tonight, really thought outside the box and are having the 9th and 10th graders come in person on September 6th. And on that day, the 11th and 12th graders will be working on asynchronous activities assigned by classroom educators. And then on the next day, September 7th, 9th and 10th grade stay home and work on asynchronous activities, and 11th and 12th grade come in person. And when you look at this image that, again, you'll find on the website as well as the Facebook page, just please pay careful attention to the times, because on both of those days, 9th grade comes in for the morning, only a portion of the day. 10th grade comes in the afternoon part of the day. And on September 7th, 11th grade comes in the morning part of the day, and 12th grade comes in the afternoon. So I think it's just a really soft entry into such a, big building and space, and a great opportunity for us to really amplify our efforts to focus on connections before content, and it'll, be a really wonderful opportunity for our educators to make strong connections with students right at the upfront of the school year. So we're excited to try this and are looking forward to feedback from both educators and our community on how this softer transition into the year, either worked or didn't work. And then on the high school, the CTE BOCES program, we send over 500 scholars to that program. Their first day at the program will be September 8th. And then on September 8th, we're opening up like a full school district. All scholars are in person that day on regular schedules. So again, just please make sure and pay attention to all of the details on this information. The administrators did a really tremendous job of making sure that they got information out in a variety of different platforms. They put letters out. Information was on the website, it was on the Facebook page, and each of the buildings did their own town hall over the last several days, right before school gets ready to get started, so that families could get all of the information that they needed in order to have a really smooth start. So they did a really nice job at that. Thank you, Vesh.
Thank you, Ms. Creedon. Superintendent Creedon.
So the next piece, I want to just give the district sort of a state of the state in terms of a project that we feel really encouraged and proud by. If you remember, several years ago, the school district entered into a unique partnership with the Orange County Department of Mental Health. It was something that was growing around the county. But like Middletown does, we went both feet in, and we were fortunate to have a clinician from the Orange County Department of Mental Health in each of our buildings as an outpatient clinic. So if you go to the next slide, Vesh. So just really quickly, making sure that our families and the community understand that when we entered into this partnership with the Orange County Department of Mental Health, what it did provide for us is clinicians that could provide a different type of support, therapy, and intervention that our in-school counselors do not provide. We provide school-based therapy, and the Orange County Department of Mental Health provides clinical therapy. So this slide just sort of summarizes that. Next slide, please. And so this sort of summarizes just that, we really took to heart that in line with our district vision, that we are charged with making sure that our scholars have opportunities to feel safe in school, that they can, grow and become really positive members of our community. And we felt that this satellite clinic, having the Orange County Department of Mental Health inside each building, provided yet an additional layer for us to support social, emotional health and well-being. You can go to the next slide, Vesh. Thanks. And so just to let you know that, what the participation in school-based health programs does. It touches on school-based skills, access to school resources, provides positive coping, it helps us to reduce disciplinary referrals, increases attendance, reduces anxiety. All of those things ultimately lead to higher academic outcomes. And so what's the difference? Like, why was it important for us to have the clinicians inside the buildings? And I mean, the short of it is that clinicians can provide a different type of service and therapy than what school-based counseling is aimed to do. And the slide pretty much sums it up. So that's available for folks to read at home, to go into more detail with that. Next slide, Vesh. And so this is sort of really the piece that we're most proud about, because we've done multiple presentations over the years to talk about what the role of the Orange County Department of Mental Health is. But, when we were preparing for the upstart of this academic school year and talking with the services and the service providers, we got our facts and figures. And it was really encouraging to hear that in the 21-22 school year, the Orange County Department of Mental Health clinicians serviced 122 of our scholars. And so I just want to take a minute to pause there to let the folks at home know, and those watching and listening, and those who will watch the presentation back at another time, that that is an incredible number. That is 122 scholars that may not have received services otherwise. And the impacts of a lack of service or a gap in service don't just hit home here inside our buildings, it impacts our communities too. And so we were really, really proud to hear that number. And with the 122 scholars, what was even more incredible was that the average number of sessions for each scholar, each of the 122 scholars, was 22 sessions. And what I have there on the last line is that the national average is 1 session. So what that tells us is that nationally, when the age group that we're servicing seeks out mental health support, they go to a first session and never return. In our district, our scholars, 122 of them, went to 22 sessions. So, I mean, truly, the gratitude for the tremendous partnership that we have with the Orange County Department of Mental Health. They're incredible human beings. Our building administrators, educators, and staff have done so much work to make sure that these programs are successful. And it's a really integral part of who we are and how we layer on support for our scholars in our community. And so just lastly, it's sort of a call to action, because as we know, we're experiencing issues with staffing and employment at all different layers of the professional workforce. And the Orange County Department of Mental Health is no different. And so they have been hit by this workforce shortage and are struggling to find individuals who would be a part of their team that goes into our schools. And so we are just really wanting to tout how proud we are of the work, how valuable we think it is to our schools and community. And if you are out there and have an interest in working with the Orange County Department of Mental Health, you want to make a difference in somebody's life, and you have the needed certifications and qualifications, please reach out to them, because the work that they do is very, very valuable. So, and that's it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Superintendent Creed. I'm going to ask the board just to kind of indulge in, I just want to go back to item H. We approved it, however, I did not read, and legally I want to be correct, I did not read the resolution. I'm going to read the resolution, which all of you had, but so that it's noted in the minutes. Resolved that the Board of Education uphold the superintendent's decision made at the superintendent's disciplinary hearing regarding student 0230688 following consideration by the Board of Education of the appeal made by the parents and guardian. Thank you. Moving on, do we have any committee reports?
Just very briefly, we're continuing our policy audit. We were able to meet last night, and it is going to be an ongoing process. So we now have, I think, a set policy committee, and what we're going to need to do is set at least 6 meetings that are going to be at least 6 consecutive meetings to get through all of the policies that we need to do.
That's a huge undertaking.
So if we, so I don't know if every week will work, but if we could do it every week, it would be great. If not, at least every other week. So we'll just look for an email on that. Thank you.
Thank you for the work that you're doing on the committee, the policy committee. I'm well aware of the amount of time and effort that needs to go into it. Yes, Mr. Williams, Mitch.
Yeah, I just want to commend the people who are stepping up to get involved as far as in our committees, which is what we're going to be discussing at the retreat on the 8th. It's commendable for people just to just dig in and let's just become a part of the solutions and crunch ideas, So I just want to commend everybody for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any other committee reports? Hearing none. What about board member comments? Yes? Okay. Mr. Freddie Williams.
Yeah, I just wanted to circle back on the BOCES project. I think the BOCES is so essential to our area. Myself having a trade and building my own business, I was able to do that through a certification. And, we had, I believe the number is 544 and walked in June, right? And then we just had 23 walk a couple of weeks ago. So, college is a great, a great step. But I've seen a lot of people take the trade route, and to have options is just important for kids. At that time and that age, I've seen many people spin wheels. And kind of not know what direction, but with a trade, it's a great thing, and that's what BOCES offers. So I just wanted to circle back and, leave my comments on that. Thanks.
Thank you. A reminder that the board will be meeting, I'm sorry.
Well, I would just like to say best of luck to all of our students returning next week. This weekend, we, of course, celebrate Labor Day, so a good rest for everybody before everyone converges back into our district. I want to thank and commend our administrators for their leadership, their strength, their commitment, and their vested interest in the success of our district. This feels good, and each year that Mrs. Creedon, as we move forward, I think we are just seeing just this opening flower of knowledge and just tools that we're going to be bringing to our district, and I'm very excited about that, and of course, for the rest of your team. So it feels really good. So best of luck to our whole district, our students, our staff, our teachers, our administrators, everyone who's been working hard to make our district look so beautiful. But, it's the
village.
It's everyone who is doing the hard work together. And I think that that's what we're all realizing. So thank you.
Yeah, it's an incredible night, I think, for the administrators. It's long overdue, well-deserved, and you cannot measure the amount of time and effort that they put into care. And so it's very well-deserved, and they deserve everything inside that agreement.
Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Perino.
I have something on NJROTC, but I'll go with that to start off the next meeting with that. I just want to say a thank you Appreciation to our former board clerk, Charlene Depew, for being with us at the last meeting, and I'm sure our current board clerk is doing a very, very nice job. Mrs. Moncheri appreciated that, and so that's it. And also, in addition to our administrative staff, I want to compliment all the support staff, the buildings and grounds, custodial staff, the office staff, who have played an integral part in getting this district ready to begin in September. And that's it. I'll continue next week with something longer.
Thank you, Mr. Perino. Our next meeting basically is next Thursday, September 8th. It is a retreat that will be held for all board members. Our administrative cabinet, as well as our attorney, will be there. We will be discussing board goals, policy. So it's important that all board members be there. It will start at 5:30 on Thursday night, September 8th. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education is Thursday, September 15th at 6:30. Hearing that, yes, sir?
The first meeting will be here, the retreat will be in this room?
Yes, the retreat will be here, yes. Any other questions with regards? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mrs. Blumenauer, seconded by Mr. Freddie Williams. Thank you all, and good night.